I now invite Hon'ble Mr. Sitaram Yechury, former Member of Parliament and General Secretary of the Communist Party of India Marxist, to deliver his special address.
Vanakkam to everybody present here. At the outset, I must profusely thank Stalin for inviting me and all the others for this important consultation on how to carry forward the struggle to ensure social justice in our country. Stalin has been admirably carrying forward the struggles launched initially by the Periyar, whose legacy was continued by Thiru Annadurai, subsequently by Kalangar Thiru Karunanidhi, and now Thiru Stalin is taking forward this whole struggle to ensure that social justice can be achieved on the four foundational pillars of equality, social justice, rationalism, and self-respect. Now, these are very important elements in the struggle for social justice. Unfortunately, social justice has often been understood merely as being limited to reservations. Reservations are important, are extremely important, because they open the windows of opportunity which otherwise remained closed in the caste-driven society of ours, based on caste oppression. These windows were never allowed to be open. Reservations open these windows. So they are a necessary conditions for achieving social justice, but they are not sufficient. To make that sufficient, reservations must be accompanied by economic empowerment. And it is this economic empowerment, along with these reservations, that can give a modicum of self-respect to people who have been oppressed traditionally for centuries. The social oppression has to end. If that has to end, we all will have to act together. And this is required in a much more urgent and important manner as to be addressed in today's conditions. Because no economic empowerment would be possible without economic development. And economic development cannot be confined only to the few at the top, while the rest of the population gets immiserized. During the last 2 years, the wealth that was generated in India, 40.5% of that wealth was cornered by 1% of our population. The bottom 50% of our population had just access to 3% of that wealth. Now, this is a state of affairs in which economic empowerment to ensure social justice is achieved, it would not be possible. So this corporate communal nexus that has emerged today, that has to be fought, and the bigotry that is associated with it, based on very clear-cut communal polarization, that today is actually creating different categories of citizens in India. Reservations were also granted after the Sachar Committee report for Muslims who could be categorized as OBCs. Now, in the state of Karnataka, the BJP government has annulled the classification of Muslims as OBCs, while it remains for Jains and Sikhs and other minority religions, but for Muslims it has been annulled. So this sort of an atmosphere of bigotry, with hatred and poisonous treatment of a particular minority, whether it's Muslims or Christians, if this sort of a situation is not controlled and this hatred is not eliminated, social justice will be a very, very distant goal. And we seem to be moving further away unless we combat this communal corporate nexus that has come to rule the country today. And in that connection, it is important that all of us who are assembled here must come together to ensure that the foundational pillars of India's constitution, these foundational pillars, that is secular democracy, economic sovereignty, social justice and federalism, are protected, safeguarded and strengthened in the days to come. Therefore, this is a very important initiative undertaken by Stalin and the DMK, and to implement this at the national level, given the plurality in our country, the diversities in our country, It is necessary that in every region and state the peculiar conditions must be properly studied so that for this common objective of advancing the cause of social justice, we can all unite properly. And that is why today self-respect is one of the major issues involved. Just a couple of days ago, we observed the Vaikam Satyagraha, the historic Vaikam Satyagraha entering its 100th year. A Satyagraha that was led, saw the participation of Mahatma Gandhi, which saw the Periyar going to Kerala, going to Vaikam, which saw Sri Narayan Guru participating in that Satyagraha. And after more than 600 days of this Satyagraha, finally, the first step of winning the battle for social justice was undertaken in the country. So therefore, today we must carry forward that struggle. We have moved forward, but we have to move much more ahead. And to carry forward that struggle, I think all of us will have to come together to ensure the Indian Constitution and democracy are preserved, and on that basis, the struggle for social justice